Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Finding Our Adventure. If you're new around here, I'm Jonny and that's Hannah. And a year and a half ago we moved into our self-built Ford Transit camper van, and we've made some upgrades over the last year that's made it much easier and much better to live in, and we thought it'd be really interesting to show you some of those upgrades today.
Hi everyone, and welcome to our channel. We are Hannah and Jonny, also known as Finding Our Adventure. In 2020 we converted our Ford Transit to live in full time. Since then we've been on an endless adventure with our two cats Tia and Skye, exploring, living and working in our tiny home. Join us each week for a new episode of Finding Our Adventure. Welcome to the inside of our van. So if you would like to see a detailed van tour that we did last year, we're going to put a link just up here so you can go and watch that. But in the meantime, I am going to give you a very quick tour of what the inside of our van looks like before we move on to the upgrades. Okay, so at the front here in the cab is very messy, as is most things in living in a van. Things get messy very quickly. So we've got our chairs from last night in the front, so excuse the mess. But the cab here, we want to install swivel seats. We said it in the last van tour video. Currently they are not swivel, but we have it open so we can quickly move in and out from the cab area to the back of the van. So once you step into the van, you walk into this area here, and basically it's a kind of seating bench with a table that can go on top of here. So we spend a lot of our time here working, and it's very nice. We've got a nice big window. Then moving on to the main corridor of the van, a very small corridor, but this moves on into our kitchen space that we have. So we've got a hob, sink, and we've got an extra space here that we can cut and prepare things on, which is fantastic. We've got a few shelves, and that's pretty much it for the kitchen. And opposite the kitchen we have our shower room slash cloakroom, which also has our toilet, which is really handy. So we hang all our towels up here, we have our toiletries, we've got our laundry bag down there, and it's also where we put our window covers. So moving into the back of the van, we have a fixed bed, which we have indents either side, so it means that we can sleep widthways, which is fantastic. And we also have cupboards just above our heads for all of our clothes. Okay, so that is a whistle-stop tour of our van, and now we're going to get into the juicy upgrades.
When we first bought the van, we had no security on the van, and obviously upgrading the security was a big issue for us. So the first thing we did was install our security camera, because that gives us the ability to watch Tia and Skye in the van and also keep an eye on the van. And then we bought a steering wheel lock, but we very quickly found out that the steering wheel lock that we had that clamps onto the wheel isn't very good, and it actually broke. So what we did was we upgraded to a disc lock, and this wraps around the steering wheel and locks up like this, and it gives us much more peace of mind that the van's going to be secure when we're gone for a little while. The next thing we did was we installed these deadlocks from Edlock, and Edlock is a mobile lock fitter and van security expert. And what these do is they're an independent lock to the van lock, and we can put our key in. I'll show you now. We can get our key out and we put it in here and we turn it and it's locked. And even if they were able to bypass the van security, the door still doesn't open, so it's locked here. And that just adds a huge amount of peace of mind for us, especially as we knew we were coming to Europe this summer. We just wanted to be able to have an extra lock system that made the van super secure.
So as some of you may already know, we've been learning to surf, and we bought a surfboard in France. And obviously one of the things that we had to figure out is how to secure it to the van. And a lot of people mount them onto the side of the van, but we figured out that we could mount our surfboard to our ladder, which is fixed onto our back doors of our van. We also have these straps that basically secure it in place, so it means that when we're driving it doesn't like wiggle around or fall off. So that's been a fun upgrade to the van. Right, so the next upgrade is a bucket. So you might be thinking, wow, that's really boring. How is a bucket an upgrade? Well, for us it was an upgrade, because before we used to shower using our bin. We did used to clean it out, and I know a lot of people I think were like, oh, that's disgusting. But we now use this bucket that we got from like Lidl or Aldi, and it's fantastic. We basically fill it with water, and then we have a submersible pump that you can put in here and that's how we shower. So we can use that inside because this bucket fits really nicely inside, but we can also shower outside.
When we first moved into our van, we only had 200 watts of solar on the roof and 240 amp hours of AGM batteries, and that was fine last summer when we were living in the van because we had lots of sun like today. But when we got to winter, we quickly realised that it wasn't quite enough to keep us going. So over the winter, the first thing that we did was we upgraded 3 pieces of kit on our van. We added an extra solar panel, we installed a DC to DC charger to charge from the alternator, and we also upgraded our batteries. When we first built our van, we didn't have enough budget to install all the solar panels that we wanted, so we left space on the roof to retrofit it when we needed it, and so we were able to add an extra 100 watts on the roof throughout winter, which made a big difference. But we still realised that because of the angle of the sun in the UK, it wasn't making the difference that we needed at the time. So that's where we come on to the DC to DC charger, and a DC to DC charger takes power from the alternator and charges the leisure batteries when you're driving, and we noticed straight away that that made a huge difference. And we'd just like to say a massive thank you for Tom from Tiny Build Electrics, because he helped us navigate the world of DC to DC chargers and helped us find a Victron 30 amp DC to DC charger that has made the world of difference when we're driving. Even now during summer, we notice that if we've been parked in shade because it's very hot, when we start driving, we are able to get our batteries topped up nice and quickly. And the final upgrade to our van's electrical system is our brand new lithium battery from Off Grid Van Life. And this has made such a difference to living and working in the van, because before we only had 240 amp hours of AGM battery, which, because you can only use 50% of it, works out to 120 amp hours of battery. And so to be able to have a 300 amp hour lithium battery where you can pretty much use the whole of it has made a huge difference. We can stay off grid and in the shade, in the sun, for a lot longer than before. I mean, it was basically like a day we could use before, whereas this we can stay off grid and in shade in sunny conditions for, you know, multiple days. So it's just made a massive difference, especially having the cats in the van, because we try to keep the van a lot cooler. So to be able to work off grid longer is a massive benefit.
Another thing that we have purchased is a window vacuum, which comes in very handy during the winter months when there's condensation on the windows, because previously we were just using cloths and they just get wet and they wouldn't dry. So this window vacuum is fantastic because you literally just go over the window and it collects all the water into this little storage container here, and then you can reuse that water. So if you've got plants or you want to use it for something else, I don't know, you can basically reuse this water, or you can put it down the sink. But it's just a fantastic piece of kit to have in your van. When we moved into the van, there were a lot of compromises that we had to make, and one of those compromises when we were actually doing the van build was not having an oven, and that was something that I really struggled with to begin with because I do really enjoy cooking. But now we found an alternative, and it's called an Omnia oven, and this basically means you can cook pretty much most things that you would cook in a normal oven. So we've been able to have pizzas, I'm trying to think what else, but mostly pizza that we've had in the oven, which we've normally not been able to have, which has been a massive bonus. And this has been kindly gifted to us by Brown and Bird, so we are very grateful to have this as an upgrade in our van. Since living in the van, we have definitely realised that we need to maximise how we use the space. And one of the things that we realised, that the chairs we had previously, they were very big and bulky and they took up so much room and space. They were really difficult to get out and we just didn't really use them very often. So we looked at alternatives and we found these chairs which fold into these tiny bags, which are fantastic. It's been so good because we've just been using them way more and they're just much easier to store. So that's one of the things when living in a van is finding things that are small, compact and easy to use.
So the last upgrade, well, it's not really an upgrade, but the last thing we want to mention in our van that we've worked on since moving in is decorating the place. And we wanted to make it feel a lot more homely, because when we first moved in we were on a bit of a rush to get on the road and to get exploring, and it felt very much like a white wooden box after we finished building it. So we've worked on collecting things as we've been going. So we've got our cow from the Isle of Mull, we've got our Barafundle frame here, we've got our prayer flags from when we went to Nepal, and we've got lots of different postcards and pieces of art all around the van, and it feels like our space and our home now when we come back. Those are the upgrades that we've made to our van over the last few months that have made our lives so much easier, and it's just made it a better space and a better working space and living space for us. We've linked all of the upgrades in the description below, and if you're interested in buying a lithium battery, we have a discount code available where I think you can get £100 off, so don't forget to check out those links below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.